Church, I feel rested this morning. Redeemed from the hour that was stolen from me back in the spring. Welcome to the Church of Cahaba, man. We're glad you're here. Hey, if you would greet someone you're worshiping with today, say hello, shake somebody's hand, give somebody a hug this morning. Registration pad. You're sitting close to that. If you would pick it up and jot your name down on the inside, pass that along your row, and if you're the last one to catch that, just leave it right there in the chair, close to the chair. There are prayer request cards in there as well, in those registration pads. So if you have an area of your life where you need prayer, please pull one of those out, jot that down, and you can drop those in the baskets when we celebrate with the tithe offerings in the event. A couple of other things. Laura Dreyfus asked me to let you guys know that we have an urgent need for Oak Mountain missions. Just listen to these. So for Oak Mountain missions, they're in urgent need of winter coats. That's all sizes for children and adults. So if you have any some lying around that you can give up for them, that would be awesome. Also, plastic grocery bags, just like whatever you pick up at Publix or Walmart or whatever, what you bring your groceries home in, those plastic bags, they have a big need for those because when they send home meat and any other kind of items, those are packed up into those. And also remember that we still have a toy drive going on for Christmas for Oak Mountain Mission. So any of those items can be dropped out in the Oak Mountain Missions box that's out in front of the kitchen door. And Laura said, I'm so sorry to get this to you on a hard notepad. And I said, I think for what we're talking about, this is probably appropriate. So yeah, no worries there at all. Okay, so there is a new ingrained worksheet that's on the back table. There should be some back there. And this particular 2 weeks are going to be focused on the second part of the Apostles' Creed. So when we say it's the Creator of heaven and earth section. I believe in God the Father, Almighty Creator of heaven and earth. So these particular 2 weeks will be focused on that. So I encourage you, youth, to grab one of those if you're still interested in participating in that way. Adults, anybody can do it, and it's a great way to follow along and just jot down some things that maybe spark during the sermon or maybe during your scripture time. There are some scriptures here to read. It's a good way to ingrain in your heart what's going on in terms of your studies. Did I miss any other announcements? I think I got it. Awesome. If you would stand with us for our call to worship. Your part will be in bold on the screen. Today's call to worship is inspired from Luke chapter 6, verses 20 through 31. Wonderful is the God of Christ who gathers the poor of the earth. Glorious is our God who wipes away the tears of sorrow. Wonderful is the God of Christ who gives inheritance to the meek. Glorious is our God who satisfies the hunger of the just. Wonderful is the God of Christ who gives mercy to the merciful. Glorious is our God who gives vision to the pure in heart. Wonderful is the God of Christ who adopts the peacemakers. Glorious is our God who lifts high the persecuted. Wonderful is the God of Christ who finds the lost. Glorious is our God who awakens the dead.
new little fella into the world. Second grandchild, little Wyatt. He may show up in the sermon, you just never know. But anyway, we're so glad to be here. So grateful to Brett Nelson for sharing last week.
Amen.
Absence, he pours so much of himself and prayer preparation into it. I have no doubt that you are in retreat, and I look forward to getting to watch that myself when it's back on our website. A couple of announcements. One is today is All Saints Day. You always have Halloween, and actually it's All Saints Sunday. All Saints Day is November the 1st. You have All Hallows Eve, and then you follow that with All Saints. And so it's a special Sunday this morning. But a couple of just sort of announcement pieces. One, and last year you may recall that when we got close to Christmas, we did a musical, or sort of a musical play entitled Carol for Every Heart. And we wound up having a wonderful response to that as far as involvement and also as far as the crowd. It was a wonderful crowd. This year we'll be doing a presentation. It's going to happen on the second Sunday rather than the third Sunday. It has to do with some availability of key folks. But anyway, if you have a special gift or talent, we need to hear from you and say, hey, we'd like to be a part. The title of this one's going to be called simply The Christmas Gift. And it's going to be unique to us, which is wonderful. But if you're interested, would like to be a part, and it can be, it doesn't have to be dancing or singing or playing guitar, that type of thing. It may be athletics. It may be you're a workout instructor. It may be, hey, you ride and do forms of things. Whatever those things might be, if you would be willing to say, hey, we do this. And what I'll do is I'll be holding those things together, and it'll be a special play unique to us, but would love for you to be a part. If you enjoy dramatic things, musical things, whatever, and then it'll be a great gift to the congregation and community. The other item, and this is really, it has to do with our Costa Rica Missions Project, but it also has to do with me, is I was asked maybe 2 months ago by one of our local venues if I would do a tribute night to John Denver and James Taylor. Those were my patron saints, guitarists and songwriting-wise. And so I thought, now how can I justify working up 30 songs, that I don't normally sing, but I already kind of know. And the way I thought about it is any proceeds that would come, they do have a gate, it's like $10 for an entry at Wild Roast Cafe. I'll post it, actually I did just the last day or so, I posted it, and it gives the details. It's like from 7 to 9. They have wonderful coffee type drinks and food, but you can actually bring your own food in if you would like to this event. But anyway, Wild Roast, but any proceeds that would come from the gate or from the tip jar or whatever will go toward our Costa Rica Missions Project. And so I'm just a hired help coming in and making a few songs, but I think it's going to be fun. And so if you'd like to come out, we'd love to have you. Thursday evening, that would be November the 7th. At this point in the service, though, we get back to your regularly scheduled announcements, and that will be the invitation to this special table. Christ our Lord invites to his table all who love him, who earnestly repent of their sin and seek to live in peace with one another. Therefore, let us confess our sin before God and one another. Merciful God, we confess that we have not loved you with our whole heart. We have failed to be an obedient church. We have not done your will. We have broken your law. We have rebelled against your love. We have not loved our neighbors, and we have not heard the cry of need. Forgive us, we pray. Free us for joyful obedience through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. And this is offer your quiet in your heart confessions. Would you hear the good news? Christ died for us while we were yet sinners. That proves God's love toward us. In the name of Jesus Christ, you are forgiven. In the name of Jesus Christ, you are forgiven. Glory to God. Amen. Now I'd ask our ushers if they would come and to pass our baskets. When you place a gift in this basket, you are undergirding not just the church of Cahaba, but the kingdom of God. And you join that great cloud of witnesses, the saints who've gone before us and will come after us. The title of my comments this morning will be It Takes a Village. Actually, I wound up shifting off the scripture that I was given the Sunday school class and Ben, but it all works together and unto the glory of God, I'm sure. But it takes a village. Let's see if there we go. I wanted to kind of give us a little warm-up. I don't know how it is for you, but sometimes if I have a few stretching exercises, I know Jimmy does fitness things and all, and sometimes a stretch before you get into your heavier lifting, not terribly heavy lifting, but at the same time it kind of helps to get your brain in the room with things. And there were several things that kind of bumped me that are not necessarily the main thing, and yet they relate and maybe help you too to put your head in the room with this idea of all saints before us, the ones who will come after us, the ones that we've known, the ones we haven't known, the ones who are carrying the mantle right now, each of us, all saints. But several things that I've thought about it. To make a difference in someone's life, you don't have to be brilliant, rich, beautiful, or perfect. You just have to care. I would say that about a saint. You don't have to be brilliant, rich, beautiful, or perfect. You just have to care. I saw this wonderful quote by Toni Morrison. She said, when a child walks in the room, your child or anybody else's child, do your eyes light up? That's what they're looking for. And I thought to bend that ever so gently, when a person walks in the room, do your eyes light up? Does something show that you're glad that they're there, that you anticipate a conversation or time with them? Now that's what they're looking for. We're all looking for somebody. It's like Norm in Cheers, where everybody knows their name. Norm! We all want to be Norm in that way. Saints care was just really what that jump started in me. We care, which makes a difference. A quote by George Orwell: the further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. It's the nature of that. I saw him and thought about Chris on this, and Chris Bloom saying, if you don't want the truth, don't ask me. If you want something sugar-coated, eat a donut. Yeah. But he's one of the truth speakers in my life. There are times where he's giving little come to Jesus talks to me. Golly, I need that. Golly, I need that kind of honesty. Saints are agents of truth. Saints, I mean, we ain't got time to pretend. I ain't got that great a memory. You know, when you tell the truth, then we have to remember one story. But if you start varying, you wind up with several stories to remember, and you get caught. I saw this little quote: in the midst of all the violence and corruption of the world, God invites us today to create new places of belonging, places of sharing, of peace, and of kindness, places where no one needs to defend himself or herself. Places where each one is loved and accepted with one's own fragility, their abilities, their disabilities. This is my vision for our churches, that they become places of belonging, places of sharing. Some of you may have seen on my news feed on Facebook that they've asked me to be a part of kind of helping them do a little fundraiser for Camp Sumitanga. And it's just folks who've been campers and counselors through the years who love it and understand that it was creating that kind of space of the quote I just read for you. Is that kind of safe place where you can come out of hiding, where your gifts can be called forth by encouragers, where you know you don't have to carry your sword around you for fear that somebody's going to cut you down or take you down. It just draws out the best in us. And so when I saw that little quote, it reminded me, I thought about this, just a thought in passing as I was working on this. I'd rather give my life for a cause that seems to lose but ultimately wins than give my life for a cause that seems to win but ultimately loses. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? Jesus said that, not Keith Elder. Wow, saints are visionaries. They see things before other people. They envision things like a Christmas play 1 month before you're going to perform it. And it's not written quite yet. And we know what it is. But that's the nature of church, is we see things and then we live into those things that God has placed in our hearts. It's a wonderful thing. I love the candles. Always a symbol of All Saints Day. When we light the candles today, perhaps you light one for a saint in your life. I'll give you a chance to certainly do that. Think about it here in a moment or two. Oh, I saw this Halloween costume talking about saints. And this one was kind of a winner for me. A little girl who wants to grow up and Joan of Arc. I thought this was pretty amazing. Even has the stake in the back. You see the photo? I thought this is pretty amazing. But there's a little girl who is dreaming high. She wants to lead us out of our oppression and all. Add one more quote before we get into the main part. Act in such a manner that you are living proof of a loving God. Isn't that? That's right. Read that with me, good. Act in such a manner that you are living proof of a loving God. Man, that's nice. Oh, you get the next little bit. Oh, had that get in there. What I really was doing is I was featuring Wyatt's blanket. My mother, who is Wyatt's great-grandmother, she has made little blankets for every baby that's born into the family. It is nieces and nephews and grandchildren and all. And she had sent this blanket. I knew you'd want to see that blanket. And that's actually, and that is Jean's blue sweatshirt. I don't know how she got cut out of the picture, but that is Jean's blue and white. And it says, if we were doing a nativity scene, we can try out. But anyway, the title, and all of that is just kind of prelude. It's kind of moistening the clay, for us to think about the Scripture. It takes a village. The Scripture comes from Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. Therefore, and whenever you see therefore, you have to wonder, now what's the therefore? In Hebrews 11, it's just given the Hall of Fame's faith. It's talking about faith being the assurance of things unseen, the conviction of things hoped for. And then it talks about all these great saints of faith. And so it went through that Hall of Fame and all the things those saints did. And then it says, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely. And let us run with perseverance that race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. You try to think, everything I needed to know I learned from blank. Now you can say God, but that's not one of the answers on the table today, or Jesus, you can say that. But it's everything I needed to know I learned from a person, a place, a thing. Can you fit it into that blank? No one person can fill the blank. No one family can fill the blank. I know there are a lot of really great nuclear families that have it seems everything that they possibly do, but no one church. Nothing can fill in the blank. It takes a village. It takes a village, a great cloud of witnesses to make you a believer, to grow you as a believer, to nurture you. There's 1,000 different forms that we could go with. A few for my great cloud of witnesses. And the point behind this, and the hope, is that it'll trigger memories for you. All Saints Day, what it's about remembering who we got up in the bleachers on our behalf. It's about the folks that are cheering for us to get it right. The ones that grieve and hurt when they see us stumble or throw the towel in or punt on third down. That's really, my hope is that you'll fill in the blank with your own people. I'm going to fly through these. And when I literally click, it's going to happen pretty fast. But the whole point is to get you ready to think a little more closely about your particular great cloud of witnesses. A few of mine, my parents, they made and kept baptismal vows. Vows and other things they did. But they stood and they said, we're going to bring this child to church, and until that time that they're able to accept themselves the gift of Christ. And then I have to say the whole church family would say, with God's help, we will so order our lives after the example of Christ. That this child, like little Wyatt, surrounded by steadfast faith, may be established in the faith and confirmed and strengthened and the way that leads to life eternal. You say that whenever we baptize a little baby, which is an awesome thing. But my parents, my Aunt Dorothy, she taught me devotion. I'll be 65 in December, and I've gotten for the longest, I'd still get money in the envelopes on my birthday, but not one birthday has gone by that my now 90-some-odd-year-old Aunt Dorothy has not sent me a card. Just the devotion and watching her with her family and how they dealt with difficult things, but how she kept a joyful, wonderful spirit through it all. Papa. Papa was my dad's dad. And Papa, I still remember when I was about junior high, about that time where your wheels may roll off the cart unless some people help keep them tied on. And Papa said, Keith, don't forget the church. Being a parent, and also now about to be a grandparent, and sometimes it's sort of like, I don't want to be too pushy with it, but Papa cared enough to be just a little pushy. He said, Keith, don't you forget the church. Don't you forget about God in this thing. He knew I was about to walk through the fire of being a teenager and all the things that you can sometimes get yourself into. But Papa's wit, he just taught me about the witness. My grandmother just taught me about beauty. Golly, she raised 5, 6 kids, actually 6 kids, through the Depression era. They had nothing, and yet she gardened and she washed the clothes. And she did all the things you can think about. There were times where it really got painful, and grandmother just kept plugging, but never missed a step. And her journals tell the story. My mom, fortunately, has some of those, and I've got some expert research from that I won't share with you, but it's amazing the times where she was right on the edge, but she kept stepping. The moms, these were the moms who raised us, kind of a tag team parenting thing in the community where we grew up. And my mom and these other 3 mothers, they had a deal, and that was if any of them saw any of us out of line, they had carte blanche to discipline us as though we were their own child. And so we couldn't get away from anything in Calhoun, Georgia. Well, one of them was around, and so but it was just this. They cared so deeply about us. I've shared with you about Willie Mack Tribble, one of the pastors. He just hit me. I was confirmed under Willie Mack Tribble. The stained glass windows. I hadn't shared the song with you yet, but I will at some point. But Willie Mack told the story of those stained glass windows in Calhoun First United Methodist Church, and but it's joy. It just exuded from it. And I thought, God, that's what I want to be when I grew up. And that Jack Lamb, another one of the pastors, and he was a little wild. I mean, he was kind of like Christopher Lloyd, and in the Back to the Future, Marty, the flux capacitor. That was Jack Lamb. He was a wild man. Man, he had a passion for Christ. And when he got really lit and preaching, it was a little uncomfortable in First Methodist churches. Usually First Methodist churches are kind of like passion light. You don't get too fiery about it. And don't get too full of the Holy Spirit. But Jack, he was unfettered, full of the Holy Spirit. And I thought, man, I want that kind of passion in my life. I want something that I feel that strongly about that I don't care who's out in the pews. I'm going to speak that truth. And Jack taught us that lesson. Sandra Jackson was she was a high school teacher, an English teacher in my junior and senior years. She was a director of our school plays and stuff. And so I had a lot of engagement with Sandra Jackson. But she always addressed me as Mr. Elder. And if there's a female in the group, it's Miss so-and-so and this. And it was just the respect that she gave us as 16, 17-year-olds that made us want to grow in. We wanted to be who she already saw us as. It was an amazing thing. Maybe Sue Brantley, a Christian educator in our churches, humble, meek, and mild, but boy, she was talking about programming and looking at where we were going in our faith and thinking about, what's the next Bible study we need to teach these folks? What Sunday school classes are learning what? And she was just so intentional about growing us as disciples. Millsap's died, I mentioned before to you. He was just a humble servant. And yet he was brilliant. Theologically, he was brilliant. He taught me how to get into the Bible and to tell stories that help people make a connection between a Bible story 2,000 years ago and today. And he helped us to tie those things together. It's just an amazing piece. Tony Lay was the director of the Georgia State YMCA. It was like a very, very active high school organization. And Tony pegged me, and I was dating
a girl who was the president of the statewide said, and Tony saw me as right pickings. He said, freshman, this guy can help us. And it was just on musical things. But Tony wrote musicals. And Tony wrote theme songs. I'd never written musicals or theme songs. But when I saw him doing it, it just like an open possibility. Hey, maybe that's something I could do. And then there was my friend Ed Kilmer, who was a concert artist. And I saw him, he was funny and he was powerful. He told these great stories and he tied songs together. And I thought, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. It wasn't too long before he was singing my songs, which was an awesome thing. And when I did this, because I saw in these folks a little piece of me, John Tadlock. Tad was a campus minister at Jacksonville State. And Tad just had this gift of encouraging whoever it was and brought us out of our shell. Rich Van Houten taught me about transferable concepts. Actually, one of the things, Paul, we were talking about our ingrained, and one of the things is to be able to learn something, but sometimes it can be this ocean of stuff and it has no handles. And what Rich had a gift of is he had to okay, let's break this down in 3 pieces, and he'd give us a little sheet of paper, and we'd fill in these blanks and these scriptures, and we could go the next day to the person next door in our dorm and share that. A transferable concept, which I never thought about. You mean we're supposed to pass this on? But Nina Reeves, you've heard this, she was just a world thinker, peacemaker. She made that song, he's got the whole world in his head. It made sense that she had international peace camps and brought in speakers from around the world. And all of a sudden the world got smaller and got bigger in a way too at the same time. But it was because this person had carried that piece of paper. Reggie Holder, I've mentioned Reggie before. I joke with Reggie and I say, Lord built you without a lid on. Reggie, the most creative person I've ever seen to make something out of nothing else. He doesn't care what people think politically. He's going to serve the poor. He serves actually College United Methodist Church, has for 30 years. And the thousands of people that have come through his ministry being fed and clothed and equipped to maybe go out and get a real job. And just the things that he has done to enrich that church family. And he never graduated from college. And I think he did it as a statement. It was like he lacked 2 courses. And he stopped at that point. But he just went to work at the church. And I think a piece of it was his to say, you don't have to have a PhD or an MD or, you don't have to be clergy to make a big difference. I don't know a clergy in North Alabama that has touched the depth and the breadth of what Reggie Holder's done. I'm going to be like Reggie Holder when I grow up, though there's some debate as to whether or not I grow up. Bruno is just a great servant ministry person. He's been very active in serving Camp Minnetonka. There are others, Sunday school teachers, youth leaders, camp counselors, authors. If you think about that, people who write books. You may not know these things in person, but say you read a lot of Max Lucado's books. Maybe you love Rick Warren since he's saints, and they're feeding in. No one person can fill in that blank. It's this ocean, this great cloud of witnesses that are feeding into your life. Christian brothers and sisters. And here at CCB, I could just about go around and point at every one of you and share things about you that have fed into me on the way to hopefully helping me realize my potential as a saint. Literally what means true believer in the translation of the Bible. It takes a village, folks, to nurture and raise us up and fill us out and give us what we need and so much more than that. So oftentimes, a great cloud of witnesses. There was a helpful image that I had at one point. I probably shared it with you, but it's balcony people. In the old images, if you think about some of the Shakespearean plays, what is there's a theater in London. It's kind of maybe the most famous of the old theaters. Anyway, it's just like the stage is way down here, and then people are just stacked up way in the high places. If you ever saw Shakespeare in Love, you had a picture of the theater like that. It's a huge balcony. You see people in the balconies leaning in and cheering people on and hoping for the best. And the balcony people. That's as opposed to the basement people. People pulling you down, negativity, people that can always find a problem behind every solution. They're just that kind of persona. what I would say in thinking about that is saints are balcony people. So, and maybe just an aside, are you a balcony person or a basement person? You realize it can change just like that. You can change who you are, and then I can just decide, I'm going to focus on where things are true, honorable, just, pure, lovely, gracious. If there's any excellence, anything worthy of praise, is what Philippians 4:6 says. That's a balcony person. I'm going to look for the good. I'm going to be salt and light. I'm not going to be the one that pours the water on the flame. Okay, I want you to bow your head a second. I told you I'd give you a chance to think for a few moments about your great cloud of witnesses. Got your back heads bowed? Yeah, well, I want you to think for just a moment. Maybe one person that's part of your great cloud of witnesses, one of those true saints. Might be a family member. Then again, there's another one. He's somebody from the church that has been there for you and made the faith more real. Fill in one of the little gaps in that blank. And then there's another. Maybe it's somebody at school. They may not even be church people. But they're part of your great cloud of witnesses. They're in the balconies cheering you on and hoping high for you. They're giving you a skill you didn't necessarily have in your toolbox. Some are still living. But then there's some that went before you. And I want you to think of some that went before you. Some of you are experiencing your first All Saints Day without a loved one. I know of some seated in the room that this is the first time that their loved one is now on the other side of the curtain. They're now a part of the great church triumphant. You're some of those that may be names that you know, maybe family, maybe authors, maybe church saints, the John Wesleys and the Martin Luther. You don't realize all of those are back there. Some who have gone to glory. Thanks be to God, Lord, for those saints. And thank you, Lord, for what they're doing to make us the saints that we're called to be. I want you to read with me, please. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. The Lord be with you. Lift up your hearts. Let us give thanks to the Lord our God. It is right to give our thanks and praise. It is right and a good and joyful thing always and everywhere to give thanks to you, Father Almighty, Creator of heaven and earth, God of Abraham and Sarah, God of Miriam and Moses, God of Joshua and Deborah, God of Ruth and David, God of the priests and the prophets, God of Mary and Joseph, God of the apostles, martyrs, God of our mothers and our fathers, God of our children to all generations. And so with your people on earth and all the company of heaven, we praise your name and join their unending hymn. Holy, holy, holy Lord, God of power and might, heaven and earth are full of your glory. Hosanna in the highest. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. Holy are you and blessed is your Son, Jesus Christ. By the baptism of his suffering, death, and resurrection, you gave birth to your church, delivered us from slavery to sin and death, and made with us a new covenant by water and the Spirit. On the night in which he gave himself up for us, he took bread and he broke the bread, gave it to his disciples, and said, "Take, eat, this is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And when the supper was over, he took the cup, gave thanks to you, gave it to his disciples, and said, "Drink from this, all of you. This is my blood of the new covenant, poured out for you and for many for the forgiveness of sins. Do this as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. And so, in remembrance of these your mighty acts in Jesus Christ, we offer ourselves in praise and thanksgiving as a holy and living sacrifice in union with Christ's offering for us, as we proclaim the mystery of the faith. Christ has died, Christ is risen, Christ will come again. Pour out your Holy Spirit on us gathered here and on these gifts of bread and wine. Make them be for us the body and blood of Christ, that we may be for the world the body of Christ, redeemed by His blood. Renew our communion with all your saints, especially those in whom we name in our hearts at this moment. Since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, strengthen us to run with perseverance the race that is set before us. Looking to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. By your Spirit, make us one with Christ, one with each other, and one in ministry to all the world. Until Christ comes in final victory and we feast at His heavenly banquet. Through your Son, Jesus Christ, with the Holy Spirit in your holy church, all honor and glory is yours, Almighty Father, now and forever. Amen. And now, with the confidence of reconciled children of God, as true saints, let us pray the prayer He taught His disciples. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. When you invite our servers to come down and join us. We'd say that as you come, just a couple of words of instruction. On Communion Sunday, we take what we call a red basket offering. And that's where if you want to leave $1 or $2 or $5 or whatever for people who come through and need help, or it's gas or food and incidental things along the way. The red basket is actually on the back table, so you can just drop that in as you leave. The other item is that you'll be taken by what they call intention. And you're going to be given a little piece of bread, and then you'll dip that in the cup. Have the words that His body broken for you, His blood shed for you, and we'll enjoy that together. You'll come out the right-hand side, your right-hand side of your row. You'll come down and be served at the station immediately in front
front of your section. If you need gluten-free, then we do have that, and I'm just going to be here right in the middle with that. So if you'd like to come, then I'll serve you. But we invite you to come now to the Lord's table. What a great day, all saints, and you are all included.
Come out of sadness, wherever you've been.
your love